When it came to starting to think of my initial research question, I thought back to last trimester when I had a deeper dive into production design and what skills are vital to the role. I used websites such as Screen Skills to find out what is industry standard. The main improvements for myself that I knew I wanted to work on were my hard skills. As a production designer, your soft skills will include being in charge of creating a feeling and a setting that is accurate to the tone and time period of the film. An ability to orchestrate various departments to deliver your vision is part of your craft, and having the ability to be decisive and work under pressure is also needed on sets, as you must dress and strike locations on time and work under the producer's overall budget and deadlines. However, hard skills include the ability to draw detailed sketches that show texture, colour and composition to a high technical standard, so they could be developed by the rest of the art department team. You'll also have to be able to understand a room's layout, making sure to measure it and know what is safe to put up. You'll also critically think about how you'll be able to dress a set in a way that is practical. From this, I made my research question: how can I effectively develop a concept for a prop or set and translate that idea from script into a practical, buildable design? For my core module, I was the production designer for our film, No Ladies Please, a political film about 3 women who go into a pub and refuse service. This meant that my development stages started at looking at the chosen location, scouting and getting measurements and photos, making sure I had a good understanding of what props I would have to make /source, to know how I'd use these to block existing unremovable objects, and how I would need to rearrange the space. In The Art of Illusion, Production Design for Film and Television by Terry Ackland Snow and Wendy Laban, 2017, they discuss locations, saying that once a scout's been done, the designer and art director will visit each one in turn, taking more precise measurements and photographs, discussing what extra dressing is required and how much construction. The next step I took from this was looking into how I could dress this modern set and use the existing pattern, style and general vibe of the bar to see how I could make it period accurate to the early 1970s. In the article, Adapting Standing Sets for Different Time Periods, from Film Warehouse 1 Production, 2025, they say, some sets may have a modern or neutral aesthetic that can be easily modified with period-specific elements. I wanted to look further into architectural styles, furniture, colour schemes and materials that were prevalent during that time. This research began by looking into fashion styles and popular shapes. I found these using a page from 20th Century Fashion by John Peacock, 1993, looking into popular architectural styles that would have been carried through to the early 1970s by reading 1960s Home by Paul Evans, 2011, and getting a better idea of the laws in the 1970s and how they would frame the public's behaviour within certain settings and what would be in the settings, such as smoking inside and signs showing women were and weren't welcome. The first development stage I took was sketching out designs I would need to cover the bar taps, as these were too modern and had branding on them. I used these initial sketches, which I then designed a model using the software Tinkercad to be 3D printed. Drawing is at once medium and process, performative act and idea. It is sign, symbol and diagram. It is a space of negotiation for both established meanings and what is yet to be known, defined and articulated. It is a medium for analysis, for the acquisition and facilitation of understanding. It is observational tool and recording practice. Drawing and design, Collins and Arison, 2017. This quote I read when I was doing my sketches. It made me think about how sketching can be a great tool that can help me visualise what I want to create, and also can be used hand in hand with the observations I make in terms of set dressing. I also used the laser cutter to create these wooden signs and 3D circles that I could paint to cover up the bar tap labels. Using a combination of Adobe Illustrator and Canva, I designed these bar tap labels following my research into the popular colours and designs that would often be seen in a British pub in the early 1970s. Here was the final results with the bar taps and labels. Other pieces I created were these bar towels, which were popular in British pubs for the time. I also created these designs on Adobe Illustrator and used the screen printing process to place these on microfiber towels. I then needed to create these lights as requested by our gaffer. I made them using acetate paper and colouring it in, then building a frame to go around it and having it be hollow so that it would fit a Roscoe light. After these initial design processes, I then had to think about how I would be able to source all my other set items with the budget given by our producer. I put together a wish list and began an initial search by going to retail stores, checking the web, Craigslist, eBay, Google, and visiting prop rental businesses that work with the film community. During my research, I may identify an interesting item that would be appropriate for the project. The item may or may not exist, it may or may not be available, and it may or may not be affordable. It may have to be built or manufactured. Sometimes I need duplicates for multiple takes, so if I'm buying an item, I purchase extra ones. If we're building the items, all will have to match exactly. An item or prop may need to be modified or dummied for the safety of the actors and crew. Set decorating and the art department on a feature film. Chapter on logistics and budget, Boxhill 2010. This quote ties into the design process with my sign. I created 3 versions of the sign, 2 of which were made of plywood so they could be snapped by the actors, and one thicker sign that could be put up on the wall. I also had to consider a scene where we had actors break a glass bottle over their heads. I used sugar glass bottles, which cost £52 for 3, which meant I had to be savvy with the rest of my budget. I designed stickers for these bottles that were popular 70s brands, Lady Sham, Double Diamond. However, I changed them so they would be knockoff versions of these brands for copyright purpose. Both of these were safety issues, which I had to do my research in, ensuring the utmost safety for the actors. For sourcing the other props, I asked around for vintage props I could get, such as an old telephone, which was sourced, a vintage radio, which was bought from eBay, and a wooden chalkboard sign, which I also sourced. This was used to cover up the till, which was something we could not move and was requested by the owners of the location. I used a lot of the original aspects of the bar, such as the bar stools and the old dartboards, which really helped me to convey the mood of a rundown working men's pub in the 1970s and overall tone of the film. The place is as important of a piece as the characters. An interview with the production designer of Sinners, Beechler, 2025. Similarly, if the director is confronted with scenery that prevents him or her from getting the cameras in to take the shots required, it has failed. The sound specialist will also need the designer's cooperation. Low-hanging scenery could prevent the sound boom operator from getting a microphone anywhere near the performers. TV Scenic Design, Millicent, 1997. This quote helped me to think about how my work would affect other departments. All of my design techniques worked really well in completely revamping a really modern bar to being an old run-down pub from the early 1970s. When it came to the day of set dressing, it worked very smoothly as I had considered details from measurements to continuity with blocking non-period accurate pieces. The camera department and director were able to run smoothly as I had ensured props and furniture were not disruptive of the camera and monitor setups, and everything I created would work with the chosen angles and movements. Sound also was not an issue, as I had done test shoots with the materials of the costumes I would be using, and also discussed where lav mics would be able to be hidden around the set. Overall, I feel that I've answered my question: how can I effectively develop a concept for a prop or set and translate that idea from script into a practical buildable design? I went through the processes of initial designs to physically creating and sourcing what I needed, then set dressing the location itself. Whilst I feel like I have gotten better at my hard skills, it has also helped me to improve my soft skills, such as communication, a key soft skill as a production designer. I have had to work across multiple departments' requests, and also what the owner of the location is comfortable with set design-wise. From the start of the year, I feel like I have made great progress as a production designer, and I am ready to take on the key skills that I have learned into my future projects.